What's up, hungry people? Today I'm going to show you how you can harvest your very own sunflower seeds. It's sunflower season in Ohio. Even the bees are excited for the gorgeous golden blooms. This past summer, I grew my very own sunflowers right off the edge of our deck, and they outgrew my expectations. The tallest one reaching over 9 feet in height. Sunflowers typically grow based on their soil quality and depth. Even though I ended up with several different sizes of sunflowers, all of the seeds came from the exact same batch. At the end of the flowers bloom, and after all of the florets have been pollinated, they begin to turn into seeds, which makes the sunflower heads get super heavy and start to droop. After a few weeks, they begin to bend and hang. And then after a few more days, their petals will start to dry and fall off. Once the back of the heads start to yellow and all of the petals are off, you should be able to see the seeds with their black stripes pretty easily. And that's how you know it's ready to harvest. So these sunflowers are pretty much ready to go. You can see here that you can easily rub off this outer green layer and expose the sunflower seeds underneath. Their heads are very heavy, so they are very droopy. I'd argue that this one is a little bit more ready to go than this one. So what I'm gonna do actually is cut the heads off and then hang them in my she shed behind me just for a couple days to make sure that they really finish drying out. And these necks are actually already broken, so I wonder if I can just snap this off. Yeah, there we go. This one, pretty much done for bent over wise.
Phrasing?
Let's just see if we can break its neck. Ready? Whoops. Yeah, I would say this one's a little bit underripe, so I'm gonna grab my giant shears. There we go. So again, this one has already been sort of rubbing against the top of the deck, so you can see that the seeds are pretty much ready to go. Let's go ahead and get these tied up so they can start drying over the next 24 to 48 hours. I just cut off this last head and it definitely has a much better view. We may even be able to just pull one of these out now and see what it tastes like. There's the seed for you. So the seed is nice and plump and juicy. If I was a squirrel, I'd be so hyped right now.
Squirrel!
And then this is what the inside of the seed looks like. Hopefully you guys can see that. Pretty tiny. And then the seed should just kind of roll right on out so you have this little white bit left. It's actually not that bad. It's definitely a raw seed. For now, we're just gonna take our sunflower heads back over to the she shed. For now, we're just gonna take our sunflowers to the she shed so they can... But for now, we're just gonna take our sunflowers to the she shed. Can't say this. But for now, we're just gonna take our sunflowers to the she shed so they can finish drying. Come on. Before we go into the she shed, I do want to try to get most of these little bits and bobs off of the front so that it doesn't make... Oh, spider! Get off, get off. You can see her there. You sure you don't want to live in the she shed? Oh, okay, let's go back down. Anyway, so before we get these drying in the she shed, I definitely want to try to remove as much of this gunk on the outside as I possibly can. Here, do you want to help? Looney, come here. You want to help? Come on, rub them off. Jump. How's this for some ASMR? We're also going to want to make sure to remove as many of these exterior leaves as possible, and that will help to hasten the drying process. Bad idea to do this barefoot. I do want the heads to be a little bit more brown before I start pulling out the seeds. Right now, I think that the seeds are going to give me a little bit of resistance if I try to remove them. So this is the inside of my she shed. I do have a workbench, and please ignore the wilted plants in the background. I'm still getting used to the temperatures here in the greenhouse, and during the middle of the day, it can get upwards of 100 degrees in here.
Nobody burned down your she shed, Cheryl.
Well, my she shed's on fire.
So I'm actually really hot right now. Woo! Let's see if I can get through this without sweating all my makeup off. The next step is to take a little bit of cooking string and then tie it around each of the sunflower heads. So I'm gonna tie it tight on the bottom, tie that in into a knot. And then we'll go ahead and take the string and tie it around the next one. You want to leave a little bit of like looseness between, so that way when they hang, they won't, hopefully won't be touching each other. So go ahead and tie this one on tight. Again, tie it into a knot. And then just repeat with the very last one. Okay, so basically if you lift these up, they should now form hanging sunflowers. So I got super lucky and my she shed actually already has pre-made holes in the ceiling specifically to hang things from. So I'm gonna tie them up using these holes here in the rafters. Hopefully the string is strong enough to hold. I have never tested this before. Just tie it into a knot. Okay. So the string is definitely very, very tight, but hopefully it will hold at least overnight so that these can get some direct sun tomorrow morning. This she shed is east facing, so it does get a considerable amount of morning sun. And that's really what I'm trying to take advantage of. So hopefully they won't start roasting out here, but the dry heat will be beneficial so that they dry extra fast. And basically I'll see you tomorrow. Alright guys, it's been a little bit longer than the initial amount of time that I said. As you can see, the original flower stalks are still standing. I haven't even cut those out of the ground yet. We did get a little bit distracted this weekend because we ended up taking out my garden that's right here. Well, it's not a garden anymore, it's just a dirt patch. But the real reason I came out here was to actually check on our sunflowers because it has been about 48 hours and I think it's time to check on them. Oh, disaster. Oh no. Looks like our friend has fallen. Oh no. So it looks like at least that these other ones are still drying pretty nicely. May end up putting them out here for another few days just so there's no more green left. The more I looked at pictures online, the more it seemed like the flowers need to be totally dry. Judging from the amount of seeds on the ground here, they do come out pretty easy. So I'm still going to leave these ones hang for another couple days, and then I'll just leave this guy here. And then that can just continue to dry in the sun right there because I'm not gonna go through all the process to tie it back up. But looks like these guys are doing pretty good. Luna, do you approve of this project? Yeah? You can't eat sunflower seeds. I hate to break it to you. So in YouTube time, it's probably only been a few seconds for you, but it's been an entire week for me. And I have no idea how my sunflowers are doing in my she shed because I have actually not checked them in several days. So we're gonna head on over to the she shed and see what we have to work with. Yeah, we're looking pretty good. Aw, yeah. And the one that I left over here on the counter is also very dry. Like these seeds are just falling right out. So this is actually absolutely perfect and exactly what we're looking for. Okay, so we have all of our sunflowers ready to go and they're definitely a little dirty. So I did a little bit of research as I have not actually ever eaten or made sunflower seeds in any capacity before. So I did a little research online and came to find out that the best way after drying them is to then soak them in water and boil them, mostly probably for safety, but also just to get off any of this extra dust and any bugs that may be hanging out in here. They definitely have some sound to them. Whereas before they were already soft and so therefore they didn't crack as well, these snap very easily. So if you can listen a little bit. I was also looking online for the best way to get the seeds out of the actual sunflower head, and literally the best way is to just take them and kind of rub your fingers on them until the seeds start to fall out. And if they're dry enough, it should be relatively easy. As you can see, they're literally just like being buttered out of this. We're gonna end up with a lot of sunflower seeds. So these ones in the middle here, I'm not really sure if these are good. They are not formed properly. So I'm gonna skip like this middle inch or two just because I don't think there's anything really viable there. It's kind of pokey. I should have worn gloves. Oof, ouch. Ugh. I don't know why I smelled that because it doesn't particularly smell great. I have no idea what I'm doing, so. This is actually harder than I thought it was going to be. Ugh, why is it sticky? I definitely don't think we'll be eating all of these ourselves, so I'll leave some plain to set out for the squirrels and for the birds, much to my dog's chagrin. Right, I'm talking about you. Okay, on to our last one here. So once again, just rub one out here.
Phrasing?
Let me know down in the comments below if there's an easier way to do this because I'm certainly not having a great time. Ah! I have no idea where that went. I'm just literally making a mess. My fiance is gonna come home from school and be like, what the f***? What did you make? Sorry, baby. Actually, not really. You know this is what it's gonna be like for the rest of our lives, okay? Sunflower seeds everywhere. Really no reason. I'm not even sure if he likes sunflower seeds, to be honest. Oh my god, like I'm losing feeling in my thumb. It's crazy. I think this is enough because I really do want this to work out. I really do want to make sunflower seeds in a way that I will eat them. I think it is a healthy snack. It's kind of like DIY pistachios, except for you can grow them in your backyard and they're even more of a pain in the ass to open and not as good. But overall, I think we're gonna end up with a successful batch here. Is to get all of your sunflower seeds into a pile. And there is a lot of shit in here that we don't want. So obviously the leaves, no bueno. So we'll go ahead and pick out the bigger bits. I'm sure, once again, there is a much easier way to do this that I just don't know about. So again, I'm gonna go through all of the seeds for the most part, more or less, and get out the worthless ones. Okay, so now that I've finished picking out maybe like 10% of the seeds that don't actually have seeds in them, we're gonna go ahead and give them a good rinse. And I think that will also help to separate the ones that are bad from the ones that are good. So I have, nailed it. I have my handy dandy colander here, so we'll just go ahead and toss these in. Now we'll come over to our sink here, rinse them out all nice and good. Not even kidding, this like actually really stinks. And then we're gonna go ahead and take our giant pot here and toss them into the pot and get them nice and boiled for safety, as they say on Rhett and Link. And we're just gonna go ahead and fill this pot with water. Be good enough. All of the recipes online also call for you to salt the water. And that's supposed to be per cup of seeds, so this is probably about a cup, so we probably have at least 6 or 7, and they were saying if you do 2 quarts of water, which we probably have like a gallon of water here maybe, and you're supposed to do 2 tablespoons, so that'll be enough. So stir the salt in, so get that salt nice and mixed in there. And now we're just gonna take it over to our stovetop and get it boiling. So I was just doing some research online about how long you're supposed to cook these for. Some say boil for 20 minutes, some say cover and boil for 2 hours. Honestly, I have no idea what's right. So I'm just going to kind of feel it out, see what they look like in 15-20 minutes, and if they have to keep going, I'll keep them going. But right now, they basically just smell like shit. Like, straight up, I don't know if I'm doing something very wrong. I did not think that they would literally smell like shit. So, I'm not sure what these things were growing in, but apparently it was shit.
2,000 years later.
Alright, took a little break, ate a little lunch. It's probably been 15-20 minutes or so since I put these in. It literally smells so bad in here. Like, I ate leftovers for lunch that legit smelled like sunflower seeds. Go ahead and check on these. I have no idea if this is what they're supposed to look like or not. I guess they look done? I'm not sure. They've darkened a tiny bit in color. They seem to have swollen up a little bit with water. So I'm gonna assume that we are at the close enough stage of cooking. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and pour these out. Go ahead and just give these a quick rinse with cold water. Pick out any seeds and stems
So roll my joint. Pick out the seeds and stems.
that I may have missed on my initial clean out. So the next thing I'm gonna do, take our paper towels here, and I'm just going to spread the seeds out over the paper towels. And this will probably make the picking out of any dirty bits a little bit easier.
Phrasing.
I don't know how people just like pop these in their mouth and eat them. Hey, I did it. That's kind of gross. I mean, it tastes good, but like that whole process is gross. There's definitely like the perfect amount of salt on it, so at least I got that going for me. And then we're gonna take our second row of towels here and put them on top and kind of just give them an extra little pat down to make sure that they're drying up.
20 minutes later.
Okay, so I let these dry for a few minutes. So I have a couple of different seasonings that I want to try. If you have a favorite sunflower seasoning recipe, let me know what it is down in the comments below, because I'm basically just gonna wing it with these and kind of see what I end up with. So I have these baggies. Basically what I'm gonna do is take a handful of sunflower seeds and put them into each one. I'm gonna try to get probably about a cup of sunflower seeds into each one, and then we'll have a variety of flavors to choose from. So about a cup or so in this one. Whatever doesn't fit into this next bag, we'll just kind of use as the control and roast them plain, so we'll have something to compare lightly salted sunflower seeds to the rest of the flavors that we're gonna make. Grab our baking sheet. I need some new baking sheets, y'all. Don't forget you can help support the channel by checking out my store on Amazon, where I list all of the products and tools that I use to make all of my recipes. Visit thestarvingchefblog.com/shop to help support. Okay, so we got these plain ones here, and we'll just kind of roll these along the edge. Okay, so the first flavor I want to try is a barbecue sunflower seed. So for the barbecue sunflower seeds, we're going to first add a little bit of our olive oil. We only need like about a teaspoon, and then kind of give it a good shake so that that oil is covering everything. And then we're gonna mix up our barbecue flavor. So we're gonna start with a little bit of smoked paprika, some regular paprika. There is a difference. The smoked paprika adds a bunch of savory flavor that the regular paprika doesn't have. We're going to add a tiny bit of ground coriander and ground cumin, a crack of salt and pepper, a little tiny bit of sugar. You just want enough to give it a little bit of sweetness, so we're gonna add about a teaspoon of sugar. Another one of my favorite bulk spices to buy, granulated garlic. Oh, I just put a lot in there. Good thing I love garlic. We have enough garlic powder in there, so I don't think we're gonna need a lot of onion powder. And then we're just gonna go ahead and close it and shake it up. Looking pretty good. Yeah, that looks pretty mixed in there, don't you think? Go ahead and get these on our pan here. It actually smells really good, definitely because of the garlic. I feel like there's gonna be a little bit of crossover between flavors, especially because I'm doing this in such a dumb way that they're basically all touching each other. So the plain ones may have a little bit of garlic to them. That's okay. For our next flavor, we're gonna do a little variation of the barbecue, but we're gonna do a smoky chili lime. So first we're gonna start with a little bit of lime juice, and then like with the olive oil, we're gonna go ahead and shake that up first. And we are going to add a little bit of olive oil. Really don't need a ton of oil. A little bit goes a long way. That up. We're going to grab our smoked paprika. We're gonna add our chipotle chili pepper. Get a lot in there. I want this to be spicy. You know what? Bleep blop. Once again, give it a fresh cracking of salt, another tiny teaspoon of sugar, and then go ahead and close her up. Shake it up. I'm gonna give it a quick whiff. Whew. Yeah, that definitely smells spicy. I'm actually gonna put a little bit more lime juice on. So I really want that lime to come through, and I don't know if it will. Let's shake it up one more time. I think this will help to really evenly disperse the flavor as well. I'll go ahead and dump this out. Ooh, yeah, these look real good. Definitely gonna be a little bit different on each one, so that's good. So then our next flavor, we're going to do a Old Bay seasoning. So we have our box of Old Bay here. What is an Old Bay? celery salt, red pepper, and black pepper, and paprika. So really the only difference between Old Bay seasoning and the other ingredients that I've been whipping together is that there's celery salt in this and it's pre-mixed. We'll just go ahead and shake this up for the best. Add something else to this. I think it's gonna need a little bit of onion powder in it because I feel like it's lacking that sort of sweet smell that onion powder gives. And then of course we'll add more salt and hopefully that'll help diversify that Old Bay flavor. Oh yeah, that smells way better. So once again, we'll kind of add it to our pan here. Just spread it out on the clean side of our spatula here. Trying to make sure there's enough room for one more flavor. Close enough. Close enough. Close enough. So then for our last batch, I'm gonna make dill pickle sunflower seeds. Oh my god, there's a fly in here. God damn it. So in order to make these dill pickle sunflower seeds, I'm actually going to use a little bit of my favorite dill pickle juice. Probably about a tablespoon of that in addition to some oil. So then the next thing we need is our dill weed. Got to add our olive oil. Shake it up. Oh yeah. Add a little bit of our onion powder. Probably the rest of our garlic powder here. A little bit of salt. Maybe a tiny bit of lime juice. I think that this will help kind of bring out that like pucker flavor that dill pickle has. It's kind of like when you bite in, you're like, yeah, that's the flavor we're going for. Once again, just for a hint of sweetness, we're gonna add a little bit of sugar. We're gonna put a little bit of this chili powder in. Give it one last shake. So we'll go ahead and bring our sheet back here. This one smells so good. Go ahead and dump this out here. And then we'll go ahead and use our dirty spatula once again to spread out our sunflower seeds. And try to keep them separate without really trying. Because let's be honest, I'm just gonna take this entire pan and just dump it into a bowl at the end of the day, so really it's just gonna be a game of what the fuck am I eating sunflower edition. So we got our sunflower seeds. We got them more or less divided evenly between the flavors. We have them also more or less in a single layer. I said more or less, okay people, come on, give me a break. So there was also varying lengths of time you were meant to roast these at varying heat temperatures. Other people were saying to put them in the oven at 400 and people were saying at 350, and that just, all of it scares me personally. When it's something that has to be cooked for a very short amount of time at a high temperature, I am prone to burning those things because I apparently have the attention span of a goldfish and cannot keep an eye on this kind of stuff to save my life. So what I have done is I've set my oven to 325 and I'm gonna put these in starting at 8 minutes. And then I'm going to let it go at like 2 to 5 minute intervals from there on out and kind of weigh out how long that amount of time is until they get to be at a state where they're all dried, where they're all cooked, roasted, whatever you want to call it, and actually in an edible state. So we'll go ahead and pop these into the oven now and get that cooking. Okay, so we're at the 10-minute-ish mark. Ooh, yeah. Oh, baby. Oh! So we're rolling up on the 12-minute mark. We got 10 seconds left to go here. And I think what I'll just do is go ahead and reach in and give them a little shaky shake. Looks like we're doing pretty good here. Definitely got some steam going. Woo, okay, timer just went off. Let's shut that up and let's see how we're looking. So, we're actually looking pretty good here. It's not sizzling anymore, which leads me to believe that they're actually probably done cooking. I'm gonna leave them in for a few minutes longer just to really bake in that flavor. But we're at the 20-ish minute mark, so probably another 5-10 minutes, I'm gonna pull these suckers out. I think they're finished. Oh my gosh, look how good they all look. Ow! So you can see that the just salted ones definitely move around a little bit more on the pan, but I am literally so excited to taste these because before they literally smelled like straight shit and I did not want to eat any of them. But now that they're pulled out,
Crazy.
I can smell that dill coming off. I can smell the Old Bay, which actually smells delightful right now. And then I can smell all of the barbecue flavors and all those spices just wafting up into my nose holes. It's So I'm gonna let these cool, charge up my batteries, and then I'll see you guys for the tasting sesh.
12 seconds later.
Now for the piece de resistance of the entire recipe, the taste testing. So we have our different flavors all laid out here, and I've already forgotten which one's which. No, I'm just kidding. I'm pretty sure from looks alone, this one is the barbecue, this one is the dill, obviously the plain, this is the Old Bay, and then our chili lime down here in the bottom corner. So I'm just gonna go ahead and taste the first one, just so we have a baseline of how these should actually taste. Pretty good. Pretty standard nut taste across the board, but pretty good just for a plain salted. I was gonna film this segment outside so I could really spit those seeds, but my neighbors decided they wanted to empty their pool today. Like, it's the last weekend of September and that's a thing that people do on this weekend. So the next flavor we're gonna try is the barbecue. The flavors really do kind of go all the way through down into the meat of the seed. So definitely pretty tasty, definitely not very good at spitting them out yet, but we'll get there. So next let's try the dill pickle flavor. Sorry for making weird faces, it's not that they taste gross, I just don't know what I'm doing with my mouth. It's a lot more subtle, but I could definitely get behind this dill pickle flavor. Next up, I'm going to try the chili lime. Ooh, look at this is a big old seed. Crack her open. I feel like a squirrel.
Squirrel!
But like a really inefficient squirrel. No, this one's spicy. I definitely really like that spicy flavor. But whew, goddamn, it is spicy. Clear my palate. Okay, and then the last one is the Old Bay seasoning. Let's give this one a little tasty taste, shall we? Here's a good seed. Go ahead, pop it, drop it, lock it. Old Bay, definitely not just for seafood anymore. You can also eat it on sunflower seeds. Who knew? Apparently the internet, because that's how I got it, but now I know, and now you know if you didn't know before. Isn't that fantastic? Hell yeah. You get the most flavor if you tongue it.
Phrasing, boom!
Well guys, that's about it for today's video. If you're still hungry, don't forget to saute up a like, flip that sub button, and ring the dinner bell to be notified of the latest recipes and foodie adventures that I post every week. As always, you can find this recipe and many others with step-by-step instructions on thestarvingchefblog.com. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll talk to you soon.